Hey, you might miss it if you blink, so go out there and do yourself a favor and take a look at the OHL point race right now. Because, don't look now, but there is a Vancouver Canucks prospect who is leading the charge, and today I wanted to make a video going over this guy and his profile, the progression he has had so far. Because when it comes to this player, he's had a really strange path, because when it comes to the OHL and the guys who are playing within it, there have been a few careers that have been sort of tussled up with a little bit because of the down year the league had in 2020-2021. And so, when you take a look at guys that were drafted immediately after the season wherein the OHL was not going on, you have yourself some really interesting stories for many of these guys who had 0 games played in their draft year. This Canucks prospect, 6th-round pick in the 2021 NHL Entry Draft, Connor Lockhart, is indeed in that group. As we had said, Connor Lockhart was taken in the 6th round by the Canucks. He was taken 178th overall, and it was kind of a great pickup, all things considered. He was ranked to go 58th by Future Considerations, 114th by McKeen's, and he was the 104th North American skater for NHL Central Scouting. Now, as we know, he played 0 games in his draft year, so everything that was going on with Connor Lockhart and the profile he possessed, it was all conversations happening from the year beforehand when he was a rookie in the Erie Otter system in the OHL. There, as a 16 turning 17-year-old, he had 27 points in 57 games played and 4 points in 5 games for Team Red Canada at the World Hockey Under-17s. Connor Lockhart is a 5'9", 161-pound right-handed center, born in January of 2003, and if you take a look at the Elite Prospects draft guide on Connor Lockhart, he knows the next systemic option, how to get out of trouble if he faces pressure, and how to use the width of the ice to support and hide to an extent. His deceptive stance, puck at the hip, allowed him to freeze defenders prior to feeding passes or releasing on net. Pretty much what that scouting report says is that Connor Lockhart is somewhat of a methodical, sort of cerebral puck carrier that's able to open up options with his deception and his read of the offensive zone. Obviously, in his draft season, we didn't see any of that because he didn't play any games, but the season after, he played 64 games with the Otters, getting 48 points in the process. Now, he was a -23, and the Otters were not particularly a great team, so it's kind of understandable why you had yourselves a guy going out there and doing as well as he did. This season, though, Connor Lockhart was traded over to the Peterborough Petes. No, he wasn't traded by Vancouver, he was traded by Erie, so now he has himself a brand new home in the OHL. And in the first 2 games for Connor Lockhart and his 2022-2023 season, as a 19 turning 20-year-old, Connor Lockhart has 6 points in 2 games played. 1 goal, 5 assists. The first game he played, he had himself 3 assists. The last game that he played yesterday for Peterborough against his old Erie Otters squad, he had himself a goal and 2 assists. And if you take a look at the OHL's point race at the very moment I'm recording this audio, he is indeed first. Connor Lockhart is first in the league with 6 points in 2 games. Matvei Petrov is second, tied with Pavel Mintyukov and Ty Nelson, who each have 5 points. Now, Mintyukov had a 5-point game as a defenseman, so he's kind of leading everybody when it comes to points per game, but of course Connor Lockhart being there in second is definitely not bad either. You also have yourselves the kind of comical look at the projected points, because obviously, he's played 2 games, he has 6 points, he's on pace for 68 total games played and 204 points, 170 assists, 34 goals. That's kind of nutty, but of course, it's only a projection based off a sample size of 2. If he were to go out there and continue this sort of pace, he would actually go out there and break the all-time OHL point record in a single season set by Bobby Smith in 1978. That was 192. So either way, Connor Lockhart is probably not going to go out there and score 3 points a game for the rest of the season, but still, just seeing what he has done so far, it has been pretty nice. And if you take a look at all the clips going around on Twitter of Connor Lockhart and the points that he's been getting, a lot of these are points that he is creating for himself. He is the one who is coming into the play, stealing the puck and chipping it over to a guy. He is the player that takes control of the puck, goes over to the high slot, and fires it by the goaltender. He's the one that's making things happen. And it's been a great treat for Canucks fans going out there and watching this guy do his thing. In fact, it's been a while since the Vancouver Canucks have had themselves an actual OHL prospect pan into an NHL player. I think the last one was Bo Horvat, technically, if you don't want to count goaltenders. So this is nice. And if you go over to some of the other scouting reports that go over Lockhart and the season that he is set to having, this is what the Dobber report back from March of 2022 says. So before he went out there and had the 6 points in 2 games, despite losing a full season in 2020-2021, courtesy of the OHL shutdown, Lockhart has not missed a beat this year. The undersized pivot currently sits second among Erie Otters goal scorers, contributing points at a .84 pace. He plays the game with a decent pace and carries a low center of gravity. He can contribute on the score sheet in a variety of fashions, but his shot may just be his go-to catalyst. He has a ferocious snapshot. As expected from a late round pick, yeah, it says that, a late round pick. That's funny. Who missed time to boot, there is some tidying up to do in order to provide the entire package, yet overall he looks to provide strong depth down the middle as a bottom 6 hopeful. And you know, it's nice to go out there and see a guy producing at the rate that he is at, scoring as many points and doing them in the fashion wherein he actually is catalyzing a lot of these points to go in. But at the end of the day, Connor Lockhart still is a 6th-round guy. And he happens to be undersized as well, so it's not really like he has the best shot at being a bona fide top 6 NHL caliber center. At the very least, if the Vancouver Canucks get a serviceable player, then that's a win. 6th-round pick becomes an NHL guy, at the very least, that is great. In fact, it's so great, and this is such a great story, plus the guy has such a good name too. I mean, we hadn't talked about it the entire time, but Lockhart. That's a great name. Let's go over into the entire reason why he was even sent over to Peterborough in the first place. It's because he did request a trade. He said himself in this interview from the PeterboroughExaminer.com, by the way, the link will be in the description if you want to go ahead and check this out. Looking at the rosters and potential situations for this year, I thought Peterborough was going to be one of the best situations for me. I was really fortunate this ended up being the spot I was traded to. I have lots of buddies in the organization, former and current players, and I've only heard great things. Erie took me in at 16 and did a lot of great things for me, but I feel the way they play and the way I was hoping to play didn't really complement each other. There were times when I felt like I was kind of forced to dump the puck in or make the safe play. My goal is to play in the NHL, and any NHL team can find a player to make plays that are safe. Obviously, it's good to make safe plays sometimes. I understand that, and that is part of the game. I feel there are times when I could have used my skills and showcased why I was drafted where I was, and I just wasn't able to do that. Erie is a great organization and they treat their players well, but I feel like for me and the way I like to play, I like to make skilled plays with the puck and open up ice for my teammates. And in terms of my confidence as well, I needed to change the scenery. I'm really excited to form some new relationships and friendships with teammates and play with some pretty special players this year. And so, when it comes to just how he was able to go out there and change the situation, I feel like there's a lot of initiative taking that kind of goes under the radar when you're talking about a prospect who is taking a stance for his own development and saying, yeah, in Erie, we kind of play a system that doesn't really help me develop. I want to play in the NHL one day, and the Vancouver Canucks want me to too. So I got to go to a system that can help me hone my skills, actually expand on my offensive IQ and opportunities. So let's go over to Peterborough and see what we can do. It's a new organization, they play a little bit differently, and so far, I mean, the guy's the #1 point scorer in the entire OHL, so I don't think he made the wrong call. Talk to me in the comments, though, all your thoughts about Connor Lockhart, Vancouver Canucks 6th-round prospect from the 2021 NHL Entry Draft. What have you seen so far? What do you like about what you've seen so far? Where do you think he's going to go in the next few games, weeks, maybe even years? Do you see him becoming an NHL player one day? Who knows? Talk in the comments, though, all your thoughts about Connor Lockhart. I hope you enjoyed this video. Juraj 99, and bye.